Hi there, I'm Ben, an RV technician here at Lichtsinn RV. Today I'm going to show you how to winterize our Winnebago EKKO 23B. It's actually pretty easy. A couple things we need to get started is going to be a couple gallons of RV antifreeze. I would say have 2 to 3, give or take. It depends how much you're going to use, but more than likely it's going to take at least 2. Other thing I like to have is rags. Want to make sure we clean up after ourselves. RV antifreeze can stain stuff, so we want to make sure we wipe those sinks out, all that stuff when we get done. So we want rags. The other thing you're going to want is the blue hose that came with the coach. That's so we can winterize the outside faucet here pretty much. Okay, so now that we have our supplies and everything ready to go, what we're going to start with is up here. I have a winterizing valve here. I'm going to actually flip that to winterize. Now I'm going to come down here to Winterize 3, and I'm going to actually flip this to water heater and line drain. So that helps me get all the water out right now. There's 3 valves down low here. So I'm going to open all 3 of these valves also. 2 low points on the bottom, and then I'm going to open the freshwater tank drain. So now the freshwater tank drain will stay open the whole time that we're winterizing. You want to make sure we get all that water out of the freshwater tank. Okay, so now that we got the valves in a position that we want to, now we're going to go over to the Truma, and we're actually going to drain the Truma before we start winterizing. Okay, now on the passenger side, what we want to do is we want to drain this Truma prior to us actually pumping antifreeze through. That's actually going to help us not dilute that antifreeze, just makes things go a lot smoother. So what we're going to do now is open here. I always like to pull this relief valve up here first, just to relieve if there happened to be pressure or anything, which there shouldn't be because we open valves on the other side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop this up, pull this straight out. That's actually going to drain right onto the ground. So we'll let that run all the way out. Perfect. Just like that. All right, so now what we want to do is make sure that we put this filter back in. So that's that filter right there. So let's put that back in for winterizing. Close that, shut that relief valve. Okay, now we're gonna go inside and actually take care of the drinking water filter. Okay, now that we're inside, we're actually gonna take care of the drinking water filter. So I wanna empty it prior to us starting to winterize. Again, that's so we don't dilute it. So what we're gonna do is underneath the sink here, the water canister, drinking water canister is right here. So I'm gonna undo that. I'm gonna take it, just dump it in the sink. So this is gonna be one of 2 times that we actually empty this. We're gonna do it now, and we're gonna also do it when we're done winterizing to get all the RV antifreeze out of here. Because even if it's full of RV antifreeze can expand enough to where it actually can break this. So make sure we dump that out when we're all done. Okay, so we'll put that back in place. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back outside, get our RV antifreeze ready, and then we're gonna start winterizing. Okay, now we're back outside. Now we're gonna get our RV antifreeze all hooked up, our valves all closed. So let's start by closing all our valves. So the 2 valves down low we wanna close are the 2 low points. This one and this one. So if I can close those 2 valves, we'll still leave the freshwater tank drain open. We wanna drain all that water out. So now come up here to the winterizing for the Truma, and let's go ahead and put that back in normal operation. And then we'll come up to this other winterizing valve and make sure this is still in winterize. That's what's actually gonna shut your fresh water tank off and turn the siphon hose on that's down here. And that's how we're gonna draw the antifreeze actually into the system. Okay, so now with all the valves in the right position, we're gonna take the cap off the end of this hose. Just like that. Open our antifreeze. Poke the top open. Take that hose, put it in the antifreeze. Try to get it all the way to the bottom. So when you're winterizing, we'll actually suck it all up into the coach instead of having to change jugs all the time. Okay, so now that I got that in, what we're gonna do now is come back up here. I have my water pump switch right here. So we're gonna turn that water pump on. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab our outside hose here, turn on the hot water, and now I'm gonna spray until you have a nice steady stream of paint coming out. And again, it's gonna take a little bit because we have to fill that whole truma up on the other side. And then we also have to fill all the lines with antifreeze. So right there, nice steady pink line coming out. That means it's good. Shut the hot off. Go turn cold on. And then spray until you get a nice steady pink line coming out. So just like that. So now we can shut that off. Okay, and then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna come down here, and prior to us going inside, we're gonna put the other jug on. Okay, all the way to the bottom. Okay, so now let's go inside and we'll actually winterize all the fixtures inside that coach. Okay, now that we're inside the coach, we're gonna winterize the fixtures that are in here. So let's start with the bathroom. We'll start with the sink up here. So just turn the cold on the sink. I see water's coming out now. We'll just wait until a nice steady pink line comes out. Turn that over to hot. Pushing it all out of there. Okay, a nice steady pink line coming out. Okay. Okay. So now at this point we need to go back out and put another jug on. So I'm gonna go do that and then we'll get back to these fixtures. Okay, now that we put another jug of antifreeze on, all right, so we're done winterizing the sink. Now we'll go to the shower and we're gonna do the same thing again. Grab a shower head here. We're gonna go hot and cold. So just run the shower till you get a nice steady stream of pink coming out. There we go, nice steady stream of pink. Go over to hot. Go, a nice steady stream of pink right there. Okay, now that we did hot, bring that back up. And we also want to hit the toilet also. So toilet wise, you're gonna go here, and we're just gonna push the button back here till you have a nice steady stream of pink coming out, just like that. Dump that. Just like that. The other thing I want you to do in the bathroom also is we do use a whale pump to pump this into the gray tank. That'd be the sink and the shower drains. So after you're done, bring your extra RV antifreeze in here, dump it down the sink or dump it down the drain in the floor. Maybe down both. That's gonna help us winterize that tube that's going all the way over to the gray tank. So if we can put roughly half a gallon down there, that's perfect. Okay, on the kitchen, we're gonna go here and we're gonna do hot. And then we're gonna do cold. And again, nice steady stream of pink. We'll shut that down. Okay, so now that we got everything winterized here, what we're gonna do is shut the water pump off. So here in the bathroom, I can shut my water pump off right here. So we can shut that off there. Now I'm gonna come to the kitchen sink and I'm gonna take the pressure off. So we'll relieve the pressure. The reason we're doing that is so we can actually dump our drinking water filter again. We wanna dump that out. So I'm taking the pressure off there. So we get that pressure all off. Now I can just go under here. All right, so take this off. And we'll dump it. Just like that. And again, this is why you want rags. Okay. So put that back on. Okay, so now we'll go back outside and we'll actually drain everything out there, including the truma, and take care of everything else on the driver's side. Okay, now that we're back outside, we're back at the water compartment. All right, so what we want to do is we'll open up the line drain for the truma, and then the two low point drains will hit down here. And again, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to get as much of the antifreeze out as possible. Once you pump the antifreeze through the whole system, it technically has done its job. It's pushing the water out So what I like to do is get as much out of the system as possible of the RV antifreeze, because we don't need it in the system anymore. So I open these drains for a little bit, let it drain out. And then what I do is I always go back to normal operation, close these valves. And then up here also, once your tank is all done draining, you can turn that back to normal. That will make it so you're pretty much all ready to go when you go to de-winterize this RV. And the very last thing I want you to do is we'll go to the other side and we'll drain the Truma really quick. Okay, now that we're back over at the Truma, one of the last things I want you to do is to drain the Truma. So again, pull that relief valve. Just make sure there's no pressure, nothing on there. I'm gonna actually flip this up, go down, and that's gonna drain on the ground. Okay, so you have two options here. What we like to do here at the dealership is I take this filter out and I store it right here. And the reason I do that is because if I put that filter back in, if there's any residual water, antifreeze, anything that somehow could fill this canister, it could break it. Not saying it's going to, but there is a chance. So we always store it here, and you just have to remember before you de-winterize to put that filter back in. It's kind of a safety, because if any water comes back, it's just gonna drain out then if that filter's not in. Then I'll just close this, close this. Okay, the last thing you need to do on the other side is just take your hose out of the jug, drain the hose down, put the cap back on that hose, and then you're pretty much done winterizing. So as you see, it's actually pretty easy to winterize the 23B EKKO. A couple times of doing it, it's just really easy.